Oh, yeah. Give me a second, guys. We're getting there. We're getting there, guys. All right, guys. So you're going to have to bear with me just a little bit here. There'll be no bonding today, just FYI. I am on the road again. So just bear with me. Trying to get used to this. I got this new dual screen thing for a laptop. It's pretty good, actually, except MacBook Air doesn't support dual monitors, like 3 monitors. So like I'm going to have to get rid of the MacBook Air and go to the MacBook Pro, it looks like. It's just really frustrating. I knew this when I bought the thing, but I thought I could find a workaround, but apparently I can't. A couple of things to go over here. You're going to have super, super light volume today, like really light volume. And I can't stress that enough. Like, you're going to think that you have it all figured out, and you're going to think that everything's good. And then they're going to rug pull you, and you're not going to know what happened. So just understand, like, today's not the day for the weak of heart. What I tend to do today is just understand that they're going to rug pull people left and right and just deal with it. That's the best advice that I could that I could give you. That's what I tend to see happen on days like today. So, deal with it. It is what it is. In regards to today, the things that I would suggest doing is just looking at what they're trying to buy. Like, what are they really trying to buy today? Like, beforehand, right? Like, what are they really trying to get at? Like, quietly. Is there anything out there? This is a hedge fund VIP list from Goldman. If you're in the room, you already know this. But I always look at this stuff and go, like, what are they trying to, like, be sneaky about? Coors was something we looked at for some time, and we got a bunch of guys in there that bought it. I don't have it yet. What are they trying to get in? What are they trying to get out of? I don't know. This thing's telling me that we're down precipitously on VST. I don't see it that way. So let's just go here and go take a look at this. Oh, you don't have me set up right. Hold on 1 second. So that's not going to help me. Where is the extended hours? There we go. Wow, I was wondering why none of that was working properly. So like here you are, cores. But I always like looking at that stuff and then going, okay, well, why today? Like, why are they trying to do this today? And I just try to look. I'll read into it, see if there's something to it or not. I do like Microsoft here, actually. I'm surprised that it didn't have follow through, but you had a lot of like wacky earnings. So we'll see how that goes. But the cores I really like, and we'll see how that plays out. On other names, I just find it very helpful to just look and just go by extended and see, like, okay, what's going on. It shouldn't be shocking to anyone. This is what they do with MSTR. They just bid it up. if you were in the community, you know firsthand that I just pointed out, like, hey, this was the first time since here that we couldn't even get back to the close. So it kind of led to the fact that you're probably going to see some kind of push. Again, it is what it is. I don't know why I can't get this thing full screen today in here, but I'm not really sure what the issue is with it, but I don't seem to be able to get that full screen. I get this like weird side view. So I don't know. We're just going to have to deal with it. But other than that, I don't really see it. Like, I'd be real careful today. That's the best way that I can explain today. If I go through some of my other lists, like the AI power list, I might find something. This is that AI Goldman Sachs power list. Sometimes there's stuff in there. I don't really see it today. Days like today, I'll go through my lists. I'll just look and see if there's something really weird sticking out, like all these little China names or like rocking and rolling, right? So, are those things to look at? Maybe, maybe not. Would I go after them? I think you got to be super careful on days like today, and just bide your time. But I don't think that it's something that you really want to get, overly invested in. Is the best way I can explain it. IGV names are probably going to take a little bit of a break after crowd, but that's pretty much it. Let's go through the top names and like the indexes, and we'll go from there. So if you look at the NQ, I really don't see that there's anything of consequence today. I could just go on and on about this kind of stuff, but I just really don't see the need. I mean, that's really where you're at. You're either going to get through today or you're not. You want my opinion? You're not. You've actually been fading this level forever right here, and you just keep fading that control bar. So we could say anything we want about it, and we can talk about this all we want, but here it is, man. And it's the same level that we keep talking about over and over again. It's actually now the top of that with this control bar. And if you really dive into this, your entire world is now that bar. So, when people say, oh, I don't believe in control bars, well, it's up to you. You don't have to believe in it. You don't have to believe in gravity either, but it's there. So when you look at that kind of stuff, right? I mean, you should be able to see it yourself. You don't really need me to point it out, but we're going to. So that bar is in control. Whoever's the seller there, they're not done. And that's pretty obvious. So we tried to clear it. We failed. We tried to clear it. We failed over and over and over again. So I don't really see the need to get involved there. I just don't. And if you take a look from this perspective and we just kind of drop it right there, there's your DTL. You can't get above it. Now, you could also argue that this is setting up pretty nicely, and it is. And we can see that pretty clearly here, but right. And we can see that pretty nicely right in there and kind of go from there. So I really do think, and looking at this, like maybe you are setting up for something, and you would think to the upside, you got to get to next Monday, really. And so for today, I'll take questions. We'll go from there. I don't want you guys reading too much into this, but these are great days to fade. So you see like a rally in something like an MSTR, whatever it is, or a NVIDIA, and you just fade it because you're not going to have that kind of volume all day. You're just not. You're going to have people go, you were supposed to spend time with the family, get away from the computer, blah, 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 all that stuff, right? Maybe that's a little too deep-seated, but you get where I'm going with it. So people are just going to want to go spend, let me say that differently. So people are going to want to go spend time with their family. And they're just going to get off. They're just going to get off the screen. And that's just the way it is. So on days like today. So I expect the fade. Am I chasing NVIDIA here? I'll get asked about that because you're at the 55. No, I mean, there's no reason to chase it. If you get back to the close, if you want to buy it because you're at the 55, I use a 12, a 22, a 55. You should use what you're comfortable with. Then, you give it a shot. Maybe it starts to hold here. Maybe it builds. My big concern and why I'm not doing cartwheels about it yet. And, one of the guys in the room's like, really, it's funny. All you need is one pattern. And this one guy has totally picked up like these dragon patterns and he's killing it on them. Like intraday dragon patterns, everything. It's kind of cool to see. It's just so rewarding when you do this stuff. And then you see people like picking up and learning and doing it themselves. It's like really cool. Anyway. But yeah, when you break like the head, you need to be super careful. because that's like when you get like, this is the head, this is the first paw, you know, you guys say it, you don't need me to point it out, but like when you get back to that head, that's your moment of truth, and you are back to that head. So it's like, it's a very interesting spot to buy this, to see if it's going to hold or not. Do we see a lot of like locking in our gains right now? No. I mean, like, think about it. Like, you crushed it this year on the video, right? Like, you bought it in January, you paid 40 for it, you're up, you got a triple. You really don't want to pay capital gains on it, right? So what you would do is you would just get out of it and kind of go from there. I think that would be the prudent way to look at this. It's not something that I would do. You know, most people won't do that. They'll do what they'll do is they'll sell like a 10% out of the money call into January on it, and then buy an at the money put, something like that. You know, just so they can have like the upside and some of the, you know, protect their downside into January. The real play with this kind of stuff, and I don't want to go off on too many tangents, but the real play is to buy puts, in December for January, because people will lock in their capital gains out for a year, right? It's just what they do. So, but I think that's really important for people to get, and then we'll kind of go from there. But this is where you would try it. If I'll get asked about Tesla, because I always do. I don't think there's much to do here. I think you're just playing catch up. Once you break the 12, I've kind of lost interest, right? I want to get back over the 12 and then maybe, but at this point, I just want the 22 to catch up to it, because 310 is a possibility now. If you get weak here, you can get down here pretty quickly. You know, there's not much here. There's a gap down here. I don't know how much the rally is going to hold today. I don't think very much, candidly. That's my opinion of it. I think they're going to bonk you around, and people are going to, rush into it. Usually what happens today is retail rushes into it off the open, and then everyone kind of goes, what happened? Right. And then there's nobody left. So, but what we'll do is we'll take some questions here and go from there. If I'll just pull up the ES, because I will get asked about that as well. Let me kind of go from there. But if we take a look at this on a 5 and just go through this really quickly here and take a look. Right. I mean, this is what you're dealing with. And I don't expect this to do much today at all. I certainly don't expect a huge change here, but you can see that 640 level still alive and well. You can see right in, even in here, you have that like wonky, like little head and shoulders. You broke that neckline, couldn't get back up over it. And, I mean, there's your levels. I mean, if you really get into it, they're kind of walking you down, right? I mean, if you see that, here's your high, here's your lower high. Here's this really nasty, neckline right here. To me, you've broken it. If you look at it, if you get super technical, and a lot of people don't use trend lines, that's cool. You don't have to, but you don't really have to. I like understanding, because it just tells me which way the trend's going. And sometimes it's crazy how they work, but you have this gap down here. Can you get down there? Yeah, you can get down there today really quickly. So I just don't think you're going to have the volume today. So I'd be leaning towards the fade more than anything. I just don't know that you're going to get a lot of names to hold. Maybe Mean Tweet says something and it moves the whole sector. You just don't know. You don't know what you're going to get today. So keep that in mind. And we'll go from there. But let's take some questions. But this is really how I see it. And I really do think that that's how you have to look at it. I don't think that you should, I don't know. I don't think you should be, I wouldn't overread today's movements is where I'm going with it. Like, I don't usually, on days like today, I usually don't do much. I just stay the heck out of the way. And I look for, the right place to do something, if that makes sense. And I think that that's where you should do today. I mean, if I had to tell you anything about today, pick your battles. Just pick your battles here. And kind of go from there. But that's it. Let's take some questions and we'll see what today brings. I thought I had that figured out. Didn't I have that paste? Didn't I drop that in already? Yeah, I did right there. Okay. Let me do the Qs again. I might as well do the Qs real quick because I'll get asked about them. And then we'll go from there. All right, let's get to questions today. Good morning from Houston. Good morning from Charlotte. I'm in Charlotte right now, and you guys have temperatures and weather here and seasons. I got to get used to it. Yeah, it's interesting because you don't know what you're getting here with these retail names at all, man. You just don't know. I was really surprised how this had follow through, honestly. And I really was because you knew it was kind of washed out, right? Like when you have names like this and here, like watch, you gap down like whatever the guidance was, and then you stay there. Whenever you see this particular pattern on any individual name where you've gapped down on earnings for whatever they've said, right? And then you build and you go sideways, your next quarter usually is fairly good. I'll point out another one just to kind of give you an example of these patterns. So here was Airbnb, right? And then you can see the same exact pattern where, it's a disaster, right? Absolute dumpster fire, right? And it's very different than this one that gaps down and then starts trading and breaking out of that range. Like you never broke out of this range. You broke up out of this right after those earnings and they made that statement. And then you see how it acted from there. They're basically called like washout quarters. And you can see the difference here between like that quarter and this quarter. This is why understanding, this stuff to me is so important. So let's click that. So you test it, you pop back over, you test it, you fail, you get your little control bar, and then like all heck breaks loose right before earnings. They wash out the earnings, right? And once the earnings wash out and it just builds and it never goes lower than earnings, right? And so if you take a look at URBN, and this is what's so cool about these names, you just watch this kind of stuff. So like here you are, you test, you try to break after that earnings, you can't, you go sideways and you build and you start breaking out. Usually they're to the upside. So like you'll see it with other names too, like Alta, you had a horrible quarter. You really can't break below that quarter. Now, I'm not going to tell you to go out there and get involved in it, but you see how you haven't broken here on this quarter and you're coming up into this, right? And you still have like this range and you undercut there and you're going into this and it's still not broken it. It actually got under it, undercut everybody, gap filled, right? I mean, that's what it did. So like those patterns, when you see those, John, you kind of want to pay attention to them. Lulu was one, right? So like if you take a look at Lulu earnings and it was like not great, right? And then they dump it and then you kind of go sideways and now you're coming into another one. Like when you have those kinds of washouts where people are like, okay, this is still like really bad and it's really bad. And we're still like, watch the bar. And we're still not able to undercut or hold or go below it. It's telling you that like, hey, you're pretty washed out. I like the momentum, so I'm not a big guy with these. We did buy this. We did buy this one, but I do think that there's something to those patterns when you say let's go back to yours and go from there. So like when you see that kind of stuff, it usually means you're washed out. And then the people that want to buy are going to start coming in and going, oh crap, I've been waiting and here it goes. So the next thing you do is check the volume on those kinds of patterns and just see where they're at. And that's pretty substantial, isn't it? So, and when you see these turns, like if you see like a really big turn in a retail name like this, it could be a new trend. Like you saw this kind of stuff, like watch, you saw this with like ANF. You usually see these kinds of patterns really in consumer discretionary, whether that's be travel or anything. But you'll see this back here where like dumpster fire breaks out. That's it. And then, okay, now we're going to go through the season of everything's great, right? And they go through like these seasonal changes. So just something to think about. That might just be beginning. And I haven't listened to the call yet. So I was trying to blend in with the non-traders. So I haven't really caught up on all my conference calls and everything. I will listen to this call. If they can catch it, like if they can catch that move and catch the new trends, yeah, you want to look at this kind of stuff. You definitely want to look at where they're going, especially if you're doing this before the Christmas season. You definitely want to watch this kind of stuff. I don't know if today's the day volume wise, but you want to look at that 100%. Let's just keep going. Yeah, I would read those books. I think those books are great. I'm not in my office, or I'd pull it up, but somebody just won the I think it was September, when they won the contest that we do in there. I sent them, like they asked me to send them books instead of just buying their own. And like those books, like that's a great book. There's a couple really good books like that just talk about patterns. What's up, brother? What do you got? CWB, SPG. All right, so we got to pick. So let's pick this. So I keep hearing that it's over. It's over for, retail. They're going to probably benefit very greatly from what's going on in retail. So, I mean, I would lean towards that out of these. I'll go through the others really quickly and see, but that name sticks out to me. I can't buy stuff like this when it's breaking out like that. I don't know enough about them to even tell you what they do. Technically speaking, it looks great, but it's too thin for me. So that's going to take me into CWP, and then we'll go from there. It's too extended for me. Convertibles makes sense though, because there's going to be a lot of those kinds of deals out there. What's up, Lise? I like the SPG the most. Happy Friday. Yep. If it's moving, I trade it. I sent rare base setup, TRV. VCYT. I don't even have that on my radar. I like when I have symbols I don't even know. Too thin. And I don't have follow through on the volume. I mean, it could work, but I don't know why. I would get involved. What's up, Ed? Go on, Jay. What you got? I don't know. I don't predict where the VIX is going to go. I think that's an absolute losing game. I'll tell you how I make money off the VIX. The VIX spikes, and then I sell it. If it doesn't spike, I don't do anything. The VIX spikes, I sell it. The VIX spikes, I sell it. Right? I mean, it's really that simple. Like, don't overthink it. Like, there's not that many great trades in the VIX, man. The VIX spikes. What do? You sell it. Guess what we did? We spiked. What do? You sell it. I mean, the amount of money that was made here, just like selling and shorting all like those VIX ETFs was insane. You just have to, you might get one or two sleepless nights, when you're limit down. But yeah, man, like that's what you do with the VIX. Going out there and saying we're at 13 and I don't think we're getting to 12. And when you realize that we can go to 8, like what's the reason for the volatility right now? Now, if somebody wanted to say to me, I want to buy, like I had one guy in the room that's like, I want to hedge. I'm like, how do I hedge? Okay. I would buy calls out to when Mean Tweets gets in office, because when that happens, you're going to get mean tweets. So like after inauguration, like January 21st, 22nd, like that's when it's going to start. I think he's been extremely reserved right now. And I would expect a lot different. Like, I think he's being very calm right now compared to what he's going to be like when he's in. Just an opinion. So I would imagine the volatility to increase then. So. Good morning from Thailand. Good morning from Charlotte. Thank you, Journal. Appreciate it. Happy Thanksgiving. Hot. I mean, it looks great, doesn't it? You know, I don't know why this one's lifting the way that it is. I mean, obviously, it had great earnings, but I don't know why out of all of them. But that's setting up to move. I mean, that's huge volume. That's a breakout out of a base. It's consolidation. I mean, it's everything that you'd want in a trade. So I wish you well with it. I mean, it looks great. You know, you come and take a look. Like, look. I mean, there's your multi-year base. I mean, it's really hard to not think that that's going higher. I'd be curious as to why. If they're a miner, are they getting out of being a miner? Are they going into, you know, databases? Something's going on there. I'd want to know why it's doing what it's doing. But it's very clear, like, that's not a small change in revenue. That's a really big change in revenue, like really big change in revenue. So I'm not sure why you have that change in revenue, but that's a huge move. So yeah, something like that can absolutely continue. I'd want to know why the change in revenue. Was it just recognition between this quarter, right, and this quarter, and it got moved? But that is definitely something that, yeah, I mean, I would watch that. I'll definitely put it out there on the list to watch today. 100% worth watching. If you're in, cool. Yeah, it looks really good. I mean, the chart does look really good. Happy Thanksgiving. Gobble, gobble. Yeah, I like IBM here a lot. Like a lot. And I think that it should really continue. I really do like IBM here. So I have a position in IBM, just FYI. So I haven't really done anything with it. I don't think people fully get it yet, and I think they will. You know, there's certain names that I bought and I'm really happy with. It's definitely one of them. You know, it's definitely one of them that I look at and go, okay, I'm happy that I'm in that. There's other names like, you know, that I bought that I'm still sitting in, and like they're kind of bonking around. They look like they might break a little bit more. I don't know. I have to see. I'm going through like my portfolio today and just looking. I want to see what holds, what doesn't. But IBM, I don't think people get that. I don't think people understand how great Dell's call was for IBM. I don't think there's a lot of stuff that I don't think people are connecting yet. I think they're about to. So, but the volatility is out there and the volatility is real. Mara, so you kind of have to watch it. I mean, we just bought Oracle, right? And I got stopped out of Oracle because, you know, crowd and Workday, right? Boo. So, but then you have others like the FTNT that we're in, you know, and then you look at that and going, okay, well, what's going on there? Like I was watching this today and just going, okay, well, you know, do I really want to go for a ride back down to here? And the answer is, you know, probably not. So, you know, something like that, I might, you know what I mean? So you kind of have to, you're kind of playing devil's advocate here a little bit. And you kind of have to watch all, pardon me, how some of the stuff acts. I personally like what I'm seeing there on IBM. I actually think IBM is going to go a lot higher. That's my opinion of it. It's done everything it needed to do. Technically, we filled the gap. I don't think there's much to say there. As far as REITs, like I think a lot of these REITs have had huge moves. And when they pull back to core levels, I think you buy them if you like them. I think you have to have patience with REITs. And I think that is one of the things, like for me, you know, like when this gets to book value, which is extremely rare, I'll buy it because you can never duplicate what they do. Like you just can't. So, I mean, like this was just a gift back here, like just an outright gift because you can't duplicate the Vegas Strip, and they own the 10 best properties on the Vegas Strip. So it depends on the name. Like when Jacob threw up SPG, like they're in better shape right now, right? Why? Because retail's strong and they're going to get a piece of the retail action. So you go to one of their malls and they say we get 1% of the revenues or whatever, however they cut their deals. So they're in better shape. What about office space? Yeah, I keep waiting for New York or for California office space to get it together. It's not. I keep waiting for secondary office space to get it together. It kind of is. BDN's which is like that more that Philly, San Antonio kind of space, right? Like those second tier markets. It's kind of getting it together, but earnings weren't that great. So do I really want to chase that? And then you get to like the first tier, which is, the VNOs of the world on the office space where you're in New York, they're holding. But like when you say office space, you kind of have to think about it. Like the one for me that I think is being really misunderstood and the chart looks awful, like that looks god awful, right? I think people that work for Trump are going to try to get pot money into the banking system. So if you listened to Mark Andreessen just went on Rogan, and I know not everyone listens to Rogan, and that's cool, whatever. And I'll tell you where I'm going with this with the REITs. I think the REITs are specificity, and that's why I'm bringing this up. So he was talking about how 30 companies were just denied banking just because they were competing with some other company that was getting, it doesn't matter where you are in the administrations. Anyway, they were using banking laws to debank companies that were competing with other companies. It was crazy, right? I think that that's where this is going, the deregulation. And I actually think that the pot sector is going to do much better because I think they're going to get this money into the system. I think that's where this is going. And if they do, IPR is going to be a monster because that's their biggest issue, that no one has to pay them, right? They're constantly battling the leasing side of it. So, but I think you have to be very specific with the names in the REITs that you're interested in. That's the way I look at it, Mayor. I hope you're having a good Thanksgiving. What's up, Steve? It's twice in the audio. Oh, is it? I won't put it past me, my friend. I am challenged. I am very challenged. I got questions. I got people sending me texts on this. Happy Thanksgiving. Happy Thanksgiving, John. Gobble, gobble. See what else I got in here. SMCI is moving. Okay. Gobble, gobble. Every time Arete just a piece of his soul breaks away and leaves his body. My sister was killing me yesterday. She kept saying to me, "Could you just smile for the photos? Could you just smile?" And all I keep thinking to myself is I could be looking at charts right now. And she's like, "Could you just smile for the photos?" It's funny. That is funny. What was I doing? I was doing something else. Oh, someone starred. We have a starred comment. Thank you, Tyler. ACHR. Let's do it. Yay. Free money. Just FYI, all the money that comes in goes right to, when you guys do that, it just goes right to St. Jude's. So I appreciate it. I don't know why it's moving, brother. Is this one of those? Is this one of those? Oh, this is one of those helicopter names, right? Yeah, I actually think this is fascinating because it makes so much sense. If you could get this down and get the cost down. So like when these guys are going from New York to the Hamptons or wherever they're going, right? If you can get these costs down like JOBY and stuff like that, like I do think there's a market for this stuff. Now, which one of these is going to be the one? I don't know, man. I don't have an answer to that. Am I buying something like this that's up again on a day like today? No. I would want to know why it's moving. I would want to know why this is the one. Now, you might know more than me, Tyler. You might know the story. You might know the background. You might know, like, hey, it's moving because they're the ones with the contracts and they're the ones with the, I don't know, whatever. There might be a story there that I don't know. So but I get it. I get the volume. I get the whole thing. What I like to do with these kinds of names is I'll show you. I like to grab the VWAP, click on it, and just go, what's going on from the day. Like, so if I go here and I go, okay, this is the day that you went public or you were a SPAC or whatever the heck you were. Am I above that? Yeah. When you start getting above that level, pay attention. Okay, that's the pay attention level. Now, you have this right here, and you're about to close above that. So from a technical standpoint, which is really all I can offer on this, because I don't know which one of these whirly birds is going to work, you just have to use the low. And if you break that low, you just have to get out of the way. I mean, it's really, and it's hard because people will say, well, that's too tight or that's too loose of a stop. That's not my, O'Neill 7% rule or whatever. Well, O'Neill couldn't run money. So you're going to have to just shorten the position size. And then what you're going to have to do is treat it like what I do with these names, Tyler, is I treat them like options, right? I treat them like options. So like, oh, it's a $10 option. So I size accordingly. So I size these things way down with wild swings. And then I'm looking for like a real return. If I was to buy something like this, I'd want to understand the story behind it. And it's going to do this. And these are the things. So like when I buy like these lower price guys, like we bought this at like $3, right? And the reason that we did is we had somebody in the room that understood it and explained to me why we lost, why they didn't get passed by the FDA. But I knew that the book value where it was. So I knew I was buying cash, a discount to cash. And then understanding the story, like that's what she does. So it helped me understand it. And so like I treat them like options. I'll size them like options and I'll treat them like options. So that's the best thing that I can tell you and the best example I have. But I'd want to know like why this one, why not, Joby, what, you know what I mean? Hopefully that makes sense. She just said goes the laptop. That's funny. Tell her, not if you want to eat. What else we got? What's up, Steven? I like the drumstick. What is that? What's the drumstick? I think that's dark meat. I'm not really a turkey guy. I like Charlotte. I like it here. It's very quiet. Everyone says hello to you. It's weird. They're friendly. Does uranium ever die? What do we got here? What's up, Richard? SMLR. What time is it? I'm going to have to jump, guys. No, I can't do these kinds of names when you have wicks like that. I mean, it could work, but you failed several times. So why do I want to own something that's failing? No, I don't know how the camera, it's a whole thing. It's a whole thing. Sophie's interesting today. SMCI's down. I don't know. I got all these puts on it. Maybe I'll make money off of it. What do you mean it's down big? It's down like $1. You got to lay off the caffeine, man. You're down like $1. What are you down? A couple of bucks? Who cares? And it's already back up. So today's a great day for that thing to announce something stupid, like they're going to be delisted. It's a perfect day for something like that. So, buy some puts against it if you want, right off the open. You buy the 30 puts for next week. It either works or it doesn't, right? I mean, that's really all you do with it. And you don't go nuts, but this is a perfect day. Like this is the end of today is when you see all those weird announcements like NASDAQ denies listing and all that kind of crap, right? Today's the day for that. I got to just go through these. I'm going to have to jump. I'll go from there. You're welcome, Tyler. Yeah, but that's different. But they have like normal helicopters, I don't understand like the obsession with Amazon in here. I would just tell you the Mag 7 into the end of the year is probably going to be pretty tight. What's up, Kev? I like Reddit. Let me see here and get to this, and then we'll get to it. I like Reddit. I don't know if today's my day for it. I really don't. You gap filled. Are they done their selling? There was like a big seller. I thought you were done this day. Boy, was I wrong. And then you're down here. So like, you got to be done that seller. If that's, is that seller done? It sure doesn't look like it, right? I mean, there was like 12 million shares. You didn't even trade, Are you done? I don't know. You're going to have to just watch that super carefully and say, are we really done with that seller? I don't know that you are by looking at it, but I'm going to have to jump, guys. Trade to win today. Have a great weekend.